A very good morning, students. Our session of Advanced Financial Management, that is IBFS. Now, in the previous session, we have discussed about bought out deals and green shoe option. As we all know that bought out deal, that is a deal or it is an agreement between the company and merchant banker. When the company sell their security directly to the merchant banker, and then after merchant banker is going to sell the whole security in the open market, so that will be known as bought out deals. The second one, that is green shoe option. Now as far as green shoe option is concerned, when the over allotment is there, when the subscriptions of the shares are over allotted, so at that point of time, when the organization is going to issue maximum shares to the shareholders with the premium price, so that situation will be known as bought out deal, green shoe option. Now in today's session we are going to discuss about broker. Yes, as we all know, the person who is the middle one, the person who create a formal link between the company and the investor, that person is known as broker. So I don't think you required a proper meaning of broker, because in daily life we are using the word, that is broker, or the person who is a middle one or who is a mediator between two parties, that person is known as broker. Now as far as the issue is concerned, as far as the capital market is concerned, broker is one of the member of the stock exchange. So to become a broker, a person need to register himself with the stock exchange, any of the recognized stock exchange, whether it is BSE or NSE. So a membership is compulsory to become a broker. SEBI registration is required to act as a broker in stock exchange. Broker is a trading person having rights in a recognized stock exchange. Now apart from the membership, broker have their personal rights. Each and every brokers have their personal rights, and on the basis of their right, they are going to trade in the stock exchanges. Broker is abide by the rules and regulations laid down by the stock exchanges where he act as a broker. Now to become a broker, a person who is a mediator need to follow or need to adopt each and every rules and regulations and each and every policies which is laid down by the stock exchanges. And when the person or when the entity is going to follow each and every rules and regulation in a proper manner, then he is termed as a broker. Broker need to pay a non-refundable fees of rupees 50,000 for granting registration with SEBI. Now at the time of registration, it is required to submit 50,000 rupees with SEBI, and this 50,000 fee, this fee is totally non-refundable. So and each and every year broker need to submit a specified fee, that is for the renewation of the license of broker. So in a nutshell, we can say that a formal person or a formal entity who is a member of any recognized stock exchange, and on the basis of his duty, on the basis of his liability, when he become a link or he become a channelized person for the sale of the security and for the purchase of the security. Now this will discuss about the duty of the brokers. First one, that is, broker is a mediator or a link between the buyers and sellers of the security. Now here buyer means the investor who wishes to purchase an investment, and seller of the securities are companies who want to sell their security in the market. So broker should execute the orders faithfully to buy and sale of security. Now when the purchase and sale of the security is concerned, broker is a person who is going to execute the order in a proper manner so that the broker or so that the seller and the purchaser have a total faith in broker. Then after second one, a contractual note should be issued promptly to the client. Now it is a duty of broker, that is to issue a proper formal note, a contractual note of the issue of for the purchase and sale of the security. So there is a contract between the seller and the purchaser, and the broker will become a witness for that contract, that is the contract of purchase and sale. Then after third one, broker should not refuse to deal with small investors. Yes, as we all know that small investors, they have the limited money for the investment, and from that limited money the broker is not able to get the maximum benefit from the small investors. But as far as the duties of brokers are concerned, no broker should deny to work with small investors. So it is a duty of any broker, that is to deal or that is to give a proper answer to small investors or to big investors. Then after, he should provide true evidence to client about his inquiry about an investment. So a proper advice must be given by the broker to their clients. And apart from that advice, here the client is able to get a proper knowledge about the investment or about the company in which he is going to invest. So when a proper information is received from broker, then client is able to put his 100% faith on the deal between the seller and between the purchaser. So the broker is a person who give a situation of trustworthiness between the purchaser and between the buyer. Then after, broker is not allowed to disclose confidential matter relating to investment. Now it is one of the major duty of broker that not to disclose any confidential matter that is relating to investment to their clients, means that is to the purchaser. Now here broker knows nitty-gritty information about the company, but he is going to put this information not to the public. So it is his duty, that is, he is going to maintain a secrecy as far as the investment is concerned. Then after, broker should avoid dealing the transaction with the clients. So but here broker is going to avoid such kind of transactions which has the maximum defects or default apart from the clients are concerned. When the clients are not proper, when they do not have proper security with them, and apart from the rules and regulations, if the client is not up to the mark, then the broker has a right, that is to avoid a proper dealing or a formal dealing with that particular client. Then after, a good cooperation is required from his side. Now, a good cooperation with both the clients, means with the purchaser and with the seller, it is required a proper cooperation from the broker side. Then after, a broker would be liable for penalty if he would fail to maintain the account of client and fail to issue contract note as per the rules of SEBI. If by mistake or intentionally, when the broker provide the confidential information to their clients, then he is liable for the penalty. And sometimes it is happened that SEBI will not continue the registration of a broker to that particular person. So with these malpractices, a broker will lose their identity in SEBI, that is as a broker. So that is all about broker. Now the next point, that is sub-broker. The name itself suggests that when the another person work on the behalf of the main entity, so that person will be known as the sub-person. Here we are going to discuss about the sub-broker. Sub-broker is a broker who act on the behalf of broker at the time of dealing with the different transactions. Now in a common sense, we can say that sub-broker is an agent acting on behalf of broker. And to act as a sub-broker, again a certified registration is required from SEBI. So rules and regulations are also there for the sub-brokers, as they are work on the behalf of broker, but their obligations, their duties are just like a broker. As far as the authority is concerned, sub-broker does not have that authority which broker has. So when any sub-broker apply for the registration, so first and foremostly SEBI is going to check their authentication of that individual of their individual identity, and then after he is going to grant a certificate of registration to the sub-brokers. For registration to act as sub-broker, now first and foremostly it is required to submit an application form with any recognized stock exchanges with the recommendation letter from stockbroker. Means here a letter is required, and the letter that is from the stockbroker that I want to allow this particular person to work as an my sub-broker. So here again, along with the registration or along with the application form, a letter of concern from the broker is required. Then and then the person is going to work as an sub-broker. Sub-broker act as an agent of broker. Here sub-broker does not have a direct deal between the purchaser and the seller, but he is the person who work as an agent of the main broker. A certificate of registration is required from SEBI to act as a sub-broker. Broker is a member of stock exchange, but sub-broker is not a member of stock exchange. He just required a permission from the stock exchanges. Sub-broker has to pay a prescribed fee from each financial year up to initial period of 5 years. So first 5 years a sub-broker need to pay the required fee to SEBI. And then after the expiry of the 5 years, the sub-broker is going to pay the annual fee as per the norms and as per the regulations of SEBI. So here this is the discussion of sub-brokers. Then after, the last point is there, that is investor protection. Investor protection is one of the major thing which SEBI needs to look forward when any formal deal took place between an investor and between the company. Now it is one of the major objective of SEBI, that is to protect the rights of the investors. Here investors are there for their investment purpose. Now apart from this purpose, company is not going to deal any malfunction. So here SEBI is going to stop each and every prudent practices which is done by the seller of the security, that is the company. Now, for the protection of investors, SEBI issued regulation and guidelines. SEBI monitors whether the rules, regulations, and guidelines are being followed by the stock exchange in a proper manner. So, there are few guidelines which we are discussing in this particular session. The first one, that is, SEBI has issued regulation for intermediaries in respect of merchant banker, broker, sub-broker, registrar to issue, and so on. So, there are a proper guidelines, there are a proper rules and regulations when the intermediaries are concerned, and each and every intermediaries are going to follow the prescribed rules and regulations of SEBI. Then after, SEBI does not allow the companies to make misleading statements which are likely to induce sale or purchase of security. Here, SEBI is not allowing any organization, that is, to make any false statement or any misleading statement which increase the sale of the securities. Then after, SEBI issued regulations for collective investment scheme. Now, apart from the investment schemes are concerned, for the different schemes, SEBI is going to issue the different regulations to the different investment schemes. Now, SEBI has a right, that is to take effective steps for the protection of investors' right when the company is doing malpractices and when the brokers are not following the guidelines of SEBI. So, at that time, SEBI has a right, that is to take an effective steps. Then after, for the education purpose, SEBI has taken steps to educate investors so that they are able to evaluate the security of various companies. Now here, SEBI is going to issue a different guidelines that how they are going to, or how an investor is going to evaluate the different investment schemes when they are going to discuss and when they are having an investment option with them. So basically, the intention of SEBI is to protect the investors through creating awareness among the investors. For the investor protection, SEBI has introduced different norms, different conditions, and through that SEBI tries to protect the rights of investors and to educate the investors in a proper manner. So here we are ending our unit number 2. Yes, here our unit number 2, that is issue management, is completed. Now it is really very lengthy chapter because there are many points in a single chapter. So I think this is clear to each and everyone. That is issue management. I hope there is no difficulty, there is no confusion as far as unit number 2 is concerned. Now in this unit we had discussed about the introduction of issue management, then after intermediaries, then after classifications of companies, then after IPO and FPO, public issue, process of public issue, then after book building, then after issue pricing, promoters contribution, minimum public offer, and many more. So again I am repeating myself that please prepare a quick note for each and every chapters of our advanced financial management. And if you find any difficulty in any of the points of this chapter, then you are free to ask me directly. So here I am ending our session. Thank you so much.